West Ham are in deep trouble. I know it, you know it, but that doesn't matter. What definitely does matter on this is whether the owners know it. And let's just call it as it is. Sullivan and Kretinsky at this point in time. With that in mind, if they know, and I'm assuming that they do know that we're in trouble, they can't be looking at that league table and thinking anything else. How much worse does it need to get before they act? What are they looking for? We're going to go through some pretty damning statistics right now. I'm not going to overly burden you with stats on this because I think it can get boring very, very quickly if you do that. But this is just stuff that's popped up on my timeline, on WhatsApp, on the comments in YouTube. Basically, people that know we're in trouble are now looking at the stats. They're crunching the numbers and starting to see quite how poor West Ham are. It's not us. A lot of us have known this for a long time. We were talking about it way back, okay? Let me go through a few now. This is the attacking rankings for West Ham this season. Headed goals, we're 20th in the league. That's worst. Set-piece goals, we're 18th. Goals from crosses, we're 20th. That's the worst in the league. Touches in the box per goal, 19th. I don't know what that is, touching the box per goal. Anyway, assists from dead balls are 20th. Basically, by pretty much any metric, we're bottom of the league in terms of attacking. That's what that one was all about. I'll give you another one. Here we go. This is from someone called Damien Lewis. I think it's on Twitter. I don't know. It's just a screenshot. Damien said 14 wins in 52 Premier League games. 14 wins in 52 Premier League games. He finishes off by saying, how is David Moyes still in a job? Question mark. Good question, really. And this is what it all boils down to. What more are these owners wanting to see? I'll do one more for you because I don't want it to be too stats heavy. And, you know, to be fair, we need to have a little bit of a rant, as if yesterday's rant wasn't enough. Do you know what? Quite frankly, it wasn't. It's now 176 days since West Ham's last away league win at Aston Villa in August. Okay. Let's be fair. They did have 20, 30 days off for the World Cup, but you get the point. Anyway, it's worse than that. West Ham have only scored once away from home against the Big Six this season. We lost 3-1 to Arsenal. We scored a goal. We're scoreless in the last 6 games on the road. Basically, we don't score goals. Scoreless. We haven't scored a goal in the last 6 games on the road away from home. No side has fewer away points in the top league this season. Okay, so it's not just we're bottom of the league, and basically almost by any metric that you choose. And I say almost. I don't know why I'm saying almost. All right, if there is a body of evidence that suggests we're going to come out of this, but basically by any metric, we are going down. And this is what I want to know: why are the owners not seeing this? We got 0.5 points per game. I think they mean the away games this season. Last season it's 1.3. This is our longest winless run on the road in the top flight for a very, very long time. I do actually believe the stats themselves and the points right now match Avram Grant. I can't verify any of that stuff, but I don't see any reason why anyone would lie. Those are the statistics. What on earth are the board going to do about this? Those are the statistics, okay? But if you don't want to go with statistics, look at the evidence before your own eyes. Not you. I'm talking to the board here. Well, clearly, never mind, not listening to me, not listening to anyone. Not even listening to the statistics, not listening to, and there's literally, that's what they're doing at the moment, the West Ham board. And it was always going to come a time where the pressure had to go onto them. We can criticise David Moyes all we want. He's not changing. That bloke is not changing at all. But what are they seeing in terms of the players' demeanour? What are they seeing, if they want to ignore the stats, that make them think on the pitch that he's going to turn it round? It was insipid. It was absolutely terrible. OK, look, the defensive tactics worked for the first half. They worked for a little bit, but we had one shot on target in all the game. It's just not good enough. What are they seeing that thinks, in a minute he's going to turn it round? Do you know what? The next game he'll do it, the next game he'll do it, the next game he'll do it. I'll tell you something, those players look completely fed up. Completely fed up. Now, I think it's a massive cliche to say he's lost the dressing room, because I think if you say he's lost the dressing room, you're looking for a big fallout. Maybe it doesn't have to be as big as that. Maybe that statement is too generalised. Maybe, just maybe, it's enough just for the players to be tired and lack any belief in your tactics. In essence, the instruction that David Moyes is giving the players, and the pre-match build-up or whatever in training when he's preparing to face the team, maybe the players just don't believe it anymore. Maybe when David Moyes is saying we'll keep it tight at the back for the first 60 minutes, and what we'll do is we'll move up the pitch, we'll win a few corners, and we'll score from the corner, mate, or whatever he says. I've just made that up. But whatever the instruction is, maybe when they hear it, the players just think, well, that won't happen. That won't happen because we'll concede before that. And maybe the players are thinking, well, we're unlikely to score. Even Declan Rice said yesterday that we weren't getting enough support to the strikers. I mean, even the players are saying it. He's not the first one to say stuff like that. The players are... I don't think the players hate David Moyes, and I think this is not the problem. I don't, particularly want anyone to hate anyone, but they're sort of hinting at stuff, aren't they? And I don't think he has. I don't think he's that dislikable that he's completely lost everyone's loyalty. But I think he's probably lost any faith that the squad have in him. And I think because of that, he's struggling to motivate them. So will they run for him? Yes. Will they do the fitness part, all of that? Yeah, probably. But actually, are they playing with any sense of belief? No. So you've got the evidence of your own eyes that you watch when you can see a team devoid of any creativity. You can see that with your own eyes, and you've got the stats that back it up. Which sort of leads me on to something else, really, with David Moyes. This is something he says, and it's something the press say about him. And the press look, the press won't tell it as it is. Anyone, I would expect, okay, even if not everyone thinks David Moyes should be sacked, I would expect half of the press at the moment, even if it was just half, to be looking at West Ham and saying he probably can't take him any further, he should go. Now, nobody says that. The odd one or two, hardly anyone will say that. And there's a really good reason for that, is because now, when you look at whatever, Sky, BBC, any of it, they are all... A lot of these jobs used to be packed full of journalists. Now, a journalist doesn't say... I mean, I don't know if you've ever watched a programme called The Sunday Supplement. I don't know if it's still around. It used to be a really, really good show on Sky. It was hosted by a journalist. Jimmy Hill started it, hosted by Jimmy Hill. A load of journalists sat around the table. They just called it as it was. They had no particular loyalty. They just called it as they saw it. There are so many ex-players in the game now, and in the studio and in the press and everywhere else, that nobody actually, because they all know each other, nobody really wants to upset anyone else, because they're all like a brotherhood in essence. Not many people come out and say he needs to be sacked. So what we don't get is a reflection of it. And I wonder if that plays into David Sullivan's thinking on this one. However, I digress slightly. Let me just get back on track here. However, one of the things that the press say is that David Moyes has managed over 1,000 games. When the press talk about David Moyes, very little is mentioned about Sunderland and Real Sociedad. They concentrate on Everton, don't they? It's like almost they cherry pick the good parts, but we've got to ignore that other stuff that doesn't suit the narrative. That stays peripheral. He's managed over 1,000 games. I think it's only Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson that manage more games. And David Moyes has said this himself. So it's a boast. This is what it is. David Moyes is an experienced manager. That's the boast. Okay, well, let's take it. So what is the benefit of experience? Why is that a boast? Why is that a good thing to say that? Why does it carry more weight if you're saying this guy's experienced as opposed to someone that's just got their coaching badges? Well, it doesn't really matter whether it's football. It doesn't really matter whether it's anything else. It doesn't really matter if you work in a bakery or you're a plumber or anything else. Experience gives you a body of knowledge to fall back on when things don't go quite right. And that's really it. So if you're an experienced plumber, you walk into a house, there's water leaking through the ceiling, you've probably got a bit of an idea what it might be. You can probably get it sorted quite quickly. If you're a baker and, I don't know, the cake's not rising or whatever it is, you've got a body of experience to know what's got wrong, what you could do to rectify it and what you could do better next time. You have the experience to draw on to rectify the mistakes. I think it's absolutely pointless that David Moyes has played or managed 1,000 games, because he knows he's in a problem. But it's not like he's drawing back on any experience and saying, "Okay, what I'll do here now, I'm in a bit of a situation here, so I will do something different." He can't. He doesn't know how to. Alex Ferguson used to change things all the time. He used to always change formation. Alex Ferguson didn't always play 4-4-2. Alex Ferguson was always changing his number 2. That means poo. It was changing. It was Steve McLaren, it was Carlos Queiroz, it was Mike Phelan. He would change them all the time. He would freshen things up. He would freshen his tactics up. He would freshen lots and lots of stuff up. He was always innovative. There was a lot of innovation. David Moyes doesn't. He just hasn't done that at all. David Moyes has just stayed the way David Moyes is. unfortunately. And because of that, when you're looking for something different and he's looking to draw on some experience of maybe one time when he played with 3 strikers or whatever it might be, that time where he did something differently and he was attacking, he hasn't got it. There's nothing to draw on. So I would suggest that actually the 1,000 games is completely pointless. Not for him. I'm not saying he hasn't enjoyed his career and all the rest of it. I'm really not. But in terms of where West Ham now, the 1,000 games counts for nothing because he has no ideas. There's nothing. He's not drawing on any old information where he can put in and he can impart and he can change it. He just stays and he carries on doing what he's doing and we carry on. I mean, is that on, what was that? Was that 14 wins in 52 games? Is that what it was? I mean, it's frightening, isn't it? So what are they seeing on this? What do they see that makes them think David Moyes is about to turn it around? And I asked this question yesterday. What are they seeing in other teams that make them think, oh, yeah, we're better than them? Seriously. I've been saying this for a little while now. Not months, but a little while. I've said, I'm not sure there are 3 worse teams than us. And I think now there's a lot of people looking at that and thinking that. Even little Bournemouth, they look a little bit plucky, don't they? They've got a little spring in their step. We don't. Well, we don't. We look like we've got the weight of the world on our shoulders. Look at it's like that. Look at the way the players are carrying themselves. David, look, I did the video yesterday. A couple of people have said it's too late. It's too late. It's too late to. I don't know if they meant it's too late or it's too late for West Ham. Now we're definitely down, or it's too late to bring anyone in. I don't think either is true. Because you've got to ask yourself this simple question. If you can possibly agree, and it's not about agreeing, it's about statistics, isn't it? If we beat Nottingham Forest next weekend, will we move out the bottom 3? Yes. Okay. So there is still a chance to survive, right? And that's not just about Nottingham Forest. There are enough games for us to survive. If you concede that mathematically we can survive and we can, then I will leave you with this final question. And this final question should really put paid to any questions as to whether or not it's too late or whether or not we should just stick with David Moyes because all the good options are gone. All the good managerial options. Because I certainly do believe the time to do it was in November. But if we forget that, that's gone. We can't deal with that now. Here's one simple question for you. Do you think that there is nobody out there that can do a better job in the remaining games than David Moyes? Because that really is the final question. And I don't care whether it's tactics or whether it's just that little increment of having the players excited, that the players become buoyant, that the players become effervescent, that they want to go and play, that they're looking forward to the game, that they have some belief. Because that's really, I'm not saying that's all it takes, but in my opinion, that would get a better performance from the players. Somebody that maybe throws off the shackles. Now, I've seen some people say, maybe throw off the shackles, we start conceding goals. Whoa, hold on a second. We're losing anyway. The defensive tactics are not working. We're in the bottom 3, and deservedly so. We are not keeping clean sheets, and we're not scoring goals. And you have to wonder, if we were attacking a bit more, wouldn't that give the defence a bit more of a rest? Surely they crumble at some point. I said it before in the game, in the build-up show to the game. Myself and Gio did. I said, my worry, if we sit back, eventually they will pick us off. That's just what happens. And then when that happens, how can you go in to the next game if you're the manager and say, the tactics are the same as the last game? The players, when they hear us, go, oh, right. I do wonder how many players must be looking and thinking, get me out of it. And phoning up their agents and whatnot. Danny Ings, what must Danny Ings think? Oh, I made a right ricket here. Let's be fair, Danny Ings was better off at Aston Villa coming off the bench. He just was. He was better off there. He was much better off there, and he probably knows it as well. I don't know what he was promised and what David Moyes said to him to get him to come over, but it couldn't have been what's happening. It really couldn't. So that's my final question there. Do you think there's somebody out there, and I don't even care about names, doesn't have to be, somebody else taking charge? Can they do a better job than David Moyes between now and the end of the season?